What is that thing? What are you doing? Do not touch that. What the hell was that? What was that? Jordan, what was that? Jordan, what are you...
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker.
What the hell?
Had to duct tape the mother goose, the mask was off. I stumbled down the hill, then I had Jill jack me off. Harder than my dick when Taylor Swift is in my basement.
Full disclosure, folks, I don't like CW shows. Even back when they were considered good, I always just thought they were okay. And over the years since then, the shows just dropped more and more in quality. The special effects, the action, the fight choreography all just got worse. And the storylines and seasons just got bloated with more and more episodes. And not to mention, the writing took a nosedive.
The suit is literal perfection.
It will be when it fits a woman.
It all felt like a cheap, low-budget fan-made web series. So needless to say, I was never a big fan of the Arrowverse. I was also a bit skeptical going into Superman and Lois, because I've seen clips of Superman appear in other CW shows, and wasn't really impressed with his portrayal. Mainly because he suffered from the same thing every other character suffered from, terrible writing. Also, I was really nervous with how cheap and goofy he could look, because Superman flies, has super strength, ice breath, heat vision, so I wasn't sure how well they were going to pull all that off, with a TV show budget. And judging from their previous projects, it wasn't looking that promising. So with all that out in the open, I'm happy to say that I'm pleasantly surprised. I had low expectations going in, and it was much better than I thought it was going to be. So far, I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I want to talk about what I think the show does right, what I personally like, and things that could be better, and things that aren't that good. But first, what exactly is this show about? Basically, Superman and Lois moved to Smallville from Metropolis to raise their 2 teenage sons. And it focuses on Superman trying to be the protector of Earth, but also being there for his family. It's an interesting idea, and it's a unique change from watching him discover his origin and purpose. And instead, we skip to a part of his life that's less explored. You get a blend of action, family drama, and a bigger plot involving a villain that's been wrecking shit trying to kill Superman. And also there's a sketchy millionaire. Say no more, I'm on board.
I'm all for America, fuck the government. Tell that see the Lois, fuck a slut to suck a dick.
I want to first talk about the production of the show, since it was the first thing I noticed, and what really urged me to take it seriously. Like I mentioned earlier, CW shows usually feel cheap and look like ass, so I was worried this show would look just as bad, especially since they would need to use CGI and special effects to pull off some of the stuff Superman can do. To my surprise, looks pretty good, especially compared to others on the network. It looks like they gave this show an actual budget. The flying looks good, going through buildings, the heat vision, and breaking the ground all looks fine. There were a few times that it did look pretty cheap, but for the most part, it all looks good. Definitely one of the better looking CW shows. And the same goes for the writing. I mean, it's not as sharp and clever as, say, an Edgar Wright movie.
Can I get any of you cunts a drink?
But it's serviceable and doesn't have terrible ham-fisted lines of dialogue that the CW has become known for. Although they still can't write teens that well.
Is that how you're going dressed today?
Somebody got to punch me in the face, Memo.
I should dress like you, like some sort of human participation trophy.
No, but you could watch a how-to basic video on style.
Also, there's some great shots. The director of the first 2 episodes is a big fan of Man of Steel, and he clearly took inspiration with some of the shots he pulled off. I also like this shot when Clark reveals to his sons that he's Superman. I like the way the camera pans around him floating. I know lens flare is an overused effect now, but it still looks good. And I also love the colors they use for the night shots while they're in the city, and the ones they use on the farm. It's a very nice color palette, looks great. So my biggest worry for this show, that being the production, was put to rest when I noticed that this seemed to be competently made.
Motherfucker duck, what the fuck, son of a bitch. Take away my gun, I'm gonna talk some other shit.
Now let's talk about the main character, Superman. I've done a video talking about the comparisons between this version and Henry Cavill's, so I won't go into it here, but I will say I like him quite a bit. To me, we get a little bit of the Christopher Reeves era Superman, but there's a modern twist, and he's changed to be something unique and stand out against the others who played the character in the past. And that's mainly seeing a Superman that's been around for quite some time, and seeing him trying to juggle raising 2 teenage boys while also trying to be Earth's protector. It's an interesting concept, and I think they're doing a good job so far. And the actor playing Clark, Tyler Ocean Man, is really solid. There are a few emotional scenes that I think he hits very well, and the switch in personality that he has when he's Superman versus when he's Clark is great. Does a good job playing 2 different people when he changes his voice and his mannerisms, which again gives me Christopher Reeves vibes, which isn't a bad thing, I like it. And this brings me to the few things that I don't like about Superman here. The first one is a very minor complaint, but it's his suit. I like the design, but there's too much padding in his arm and his shoulders, making his body look a little off. Not a big complaint, but it was the first thing I noticed. Other than that, it looks fine. And second, Clark is kinda dumb. Not in the whole show. There's just this one thing I think is pretty stupid. Basically, he never told his sons that he was Superman because they never showed any powers, so he didn't want them to feel alienated or to carry the burden of that knowledge. Now, his sons are 14 when the show starts, and the reason why I think this is dumb is because one of his sons plays football, a very physical sport. What if in a high, intense moment of stress, he gets a burst of energy and accidentally spears someone in half? Lois actually has these concerns in the beginning of the first episode because he's going to be starting QB at the most competitive high school in the country, but I feel like they could have told him sooner. sooner, since clearly he's been playing the sport for a long time, and there could have been a chance of that happening at any time when he was growing up. And the other son, Jordan, he suffers from severe anxiety, and they show him having these breakdowns where he trashes his room. Again, what if in his high moment of stress, he accidentally destroys his wall, or destroys the house? Or what if Lois goes to grab him and he breaks her in half? Just seems pretty dangerous to withhold that information for so long. Oh, and later in the first episode, his sons get beat up at a bonfire, and guess what happens? Jordan gets angry, blasts the bonfire with his heat vision, and causes an explosion. Who's to say something like this couldn't have happened earlier in life? Could happen with Jonathan on the football field, or Jordan when he's having a breakdown. I just think it's pretty dumb that he didn't tell his sons that he was Superman for this long. Taking a huge risk there, Clark. Other than that, this Superman is a-okay. But what's a superhero story without an antagonist? And here we are introduced to the Stranger, who is later revealed to be Luthor. He rocks a suit of armor that lets him actually go toe-to-toe with Superman, which kind of looks a bit like Doomslayer. And we are given very little information about him, and are fed bits and pieces of his origin. But his goal is clear, to kill Superman, so that what happened to his world doesn't happen to this one. And what happened to his world? Superman destroyed it. Now questions like, how did he get here, haven't been answered yet, but so far I like him. And the fights between him and Supes are pretty solid. And giving us just pieces of his story is a great way to keep us coming back. So the Stranger, Luthor, is good. Now let's talk about Lois Lane. She's fine. In the first episode, she's just kind of there, but in the second, we get to see her be more active, and doing some reporting and working on a big story trying to expose this millionaire. So far, she's okay. And finally, we're going to talk about the kids. And man, are they something. Like I said earlier, the CW just can't write teens that well, but these two are okay. The only real issue I have with them, and the show in general, is the family drama is pretty mid, and most of it has to do with the sons being just little shits. First, the sons are mad that their dad has been hiding the fact that he's Superman. Then don't worry, they're cool. Then one of the sons is jealous that they had to move to Smallville because his brother was starting to show powers. But don't worry, he gets over it pretty fast. The family drama stuff is to be expected, but so far it's all been presented and then resolved within the same episode, so what's the point of bringing it up? Some of it just seems pretty needless, and doesn't really seem like a big deal. It kind of feels like it's there just to fill in runtime. And even though these teens say some cringy thing, it's actually not the worst I've seen, so I'll look past that. Just getting kind of annoyed seeing petty drama with the sons. So hopefully in future episodes they actually focus on something serious. Something actually important that can carry throughout multiple episodes.
Can't tell me shit about the tricks of this trade. Switchblade with a little switch to switch blades.
So in conclusion, I'm really into this show right now. I'm really intrigued with the main plot with the Stranger, and the subplot with the millionaire is also interesting. Just hopefully they find something more for the sons to do, instead of this little petty shit. And I think the show could stay engaging and interesting long as the seasons aren't 20 episodes long. It's more of a personal preference thing, but I do prefer seasons to be shorter. 10 to 14 episodes, sure, that's great. But once you start getting to 18, 20 plus episodes, there is bound to be filler and storylines could start getting spread thin. Look at The Walking Dead or other CW shows to see examples of this. So as I'm editing this, it looks like there's going to be 15 episodes according to IMDb, which I think is a good number. We'll have to see how the season progresses. I made a poll to see what you guys thought about the show, and majority of people thought that it was very good, and some even thought it was great, but the majority of people voted for it being good and very good. As for me, I think it's good. Definitely the best thing CW's put out in quite a while, and I can honestly say that I'm interested in seeing where this show goes. There's actually a comment on this poll that someone put, I just can't seem to find it, that does summarize it pretty well. In comparison to other shows on TV, Superman and Lois is alright, it's pretty good. Now in comparison to other things on the same network, it's fantastic. So I might do a follow-up review after the season ends, to see if it kept the same level of quality it did in the first couple episodes, and see if it improved or declined throughout the season. And that's my general thoughts on Superman and Lois. I'm looking forward to watching more episodes. I want you to go ahead and leave a comment, let me know what you think about it. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend you at least watch the first couple episodes to see if you would like it, because I definitely had my doubts going in, but right now, I'm enjoying it. You can watch them on the CW website or app for free. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and drop a like on it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.